Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Peru, Valley Sagrado. My last night here. Oh, I have tears in my eyes already. It's been a huge journey this year. So huge. And my body's feeling it. But it felt also really important that we take a moment today to connect with everyone, to share the keys and the codes that have emerged through this journey, very much that began at June solstice with the Kalahari San, who holds the codes of creation prior to manifestation from South Africa before entering Mesoamerica. And all that's unfolded since then, particularly in the last 2 months here in Valley Sagrado, the birth canal of our new earth. So thank you for taking your time today to connect with us and be opening to receive the gifts that we've received from our weaving together. And also for many of you who have been weaving with us, this is an opportunity for us to offer a small amount of conscious understanding that we have gathered from this journey together. So let's begin by going through the alignment process together. If anybody would like to stand up, sound, breathe, move, work with your body through this alignment process, I really invite you to do so. It's slightly more advanced than alignment process prior to now because we're connecting through our Earth Star and Soul Star. So whenever you're ready, inviting you to sound, breathe, and move as we align our physical bodies, mental, and emotional bodies. Through all-pervading soul, higher self, and oversoul. Being aware of the power of our individual sound, song, soul signature as an instrument of aligning, harmonizing, and strengthening our own pillars. From here, activating our Earth Star that is located 1 foot, half a meter beneath the feet, and connecting through the divergent meridians of the planetary body. Connecting in also with the primordial elemental structures of creation and their purity and infinite potential. These elemental forces of nature, and inhaling these elemental forces of nature in their purity and infinite potential slowly up through the pillar, inviting them to cleanse, clear, and purify all that is not our essential soul essence. From the feet, the legs, the knees, the thighs, the hips, through the pelvic bowl, through the belly, the solar plexus, the heart space, up through the throat, the neck, the head, and up into our soul star, half a meter or 1 foot above the head, connecting through from the soul star as it activates through all time, space, and dimension, that part of ourselves that resides outside of time. Surrendering through the core of source in the new earth architecture in the heart of Gaia, imagining the planetary sphere to be in the pelvic bowl, and surrendering into that space, into that support, into that unconditional love, allowing ourselves to be held by the planetary body, Surrendering through the core of source in our own heart spaces. Breathing in, exhaling with sound, vibrating and expanding our own capacity to love. Oh. Surrendering through the core of source in the heart of the sun that is not outside of self. Surrendering through the core of source in the heart of the moon that is not outside of self. And in so doing, activating our solar discs and our lunar discs. Oh. Bringing them into synergy with our emerald heart. Ah. Connecting through the core of source in the galactic center that is not outside of self, imagining the galactic center to be in our pineal gland, our gateway to God, the all-seeing and the all-knowing. From where we enter from not knowing, we may access the all-knowing. Oh. Inhaling, exhaling with sound as we strengthen, fortify firstly our own individual pillars. Ah. Inhaling once more, and this time on the exhalation, harmonizing our unified field of love as we connect around the planet today. Oh. And inhaling once more, harmonizing our fields and connecting through time, space, and dimension to those that will join us from this recording in the time to come. Oh. Synchronizing our individual toroidal fields with one another and with the planetary body. Our axis mundi with the axis mundi of Gaia. Honoring all the guardians and gatekeepers, seen and unseen, that have supported our journey to now, that continue to do so. And the light teams and light ships that have been weaving with us constantly, and very much continue to do so in preparation for what is unfolding in the Pacific Basin tomorrow, or from tomorrow. And arriving into this present moment, and again, deep appreciation for all of you who have taken the time to join with us today. Although we checked many times, it still felt necessary and important to share with you. And from what has unfolded today, it makes sense that we weave with you and with this offering today. And to begin with, we would like to just make a minor alteration to our last sharing and offer clarity when we were talking about our divine partners, divine partnership. After further investigation, that divine partnership we were referring to was still the divine partnership within our own masculine and feminine that is required for us to anchor our multidimensional selves here. And to be as clear and concise as possible with our offering and sharing today, it feels like we will share with you the stages of our sacred journey, Galactic Convergence, sacred journey through Peru, in phases, the preparation phase that was in the Valley Sagrado for our first 3 days, what unfolded in Cusco, and very much with the Coricancha, kind of turned on the on button, and then as we unfolded through Ollantaytambo to Machu Picchu for solstice. And I'm going to invite Olga to offer some pictures, and I will come in with subtitles, as that's very much how our two systems have continued to weave together over many years. It's really beautiful. Olga gets the pictures, and we can often unpack more of it through my system's clear gnosis.
But do you mean like literal pictures from my notebook, or just like pictures?
Oh, no, you're welcome to show your notebook pictures as well, because they're very beautiful.
Yeah, but I don't have so many from the journey because it was so packed. So like probably just like verbal pictures. So I think that the first thing which really came quite clearly about the purpose of this journey was like about rehabilitation and activation all 12 strands of DNA for the human template and for the Earth. So I think it was the first piece which came as a clear guideline for the whole journey. And we've been like doing the first 4 while we were still in Pisac. I don't remember what was happening in Pisac.
It was like
the beauty.
Yeah, it was a beautiful opportunity for us to gather together, actually at Alpawasi here, just next to Pazilus in the Valley Sagrado, on old family land. And if I understand correctly, this building is built on land that the family kept while they've sold many other pieces of it as well. And we'd spent a few days working with this land. And then the first days of our journey was very much a reunion of old soul family, and an opportunity for us to harmonize the field and also invite people into the valley through the Andean tradition, the Red Road path of remembering that I had walked. And we shared a beautiful Aini despacho. Aini means restoring relationship or right relationship, very much between our planet and humanity. And the place where we were to hold that was actually right outside in the front garden, where the main ley lines, energy systems, and waterways flow through. So it was connecting through the whole valley and into the planetary body from this ley line here at the house. And then we made our way up to the ruins here, Pisac ruins, and the Temple of the Sun.
And I think that was the first phase when we were like anchoring like first 4 strands of DNA. like sitting on those like megalithic rocks above the temple. It was really like it's really, really strong energetically. And we could feel like for the first time like the strength of the group we're traveling with. Yeah, so it was like a really collective work. And what came, it was really touching that we are not only like anchoring or activating those strands of DNA for us personally and for the template of humanity, but also like almost like for the earth. Like I could see them like being activated in the ground in the Valley Sagrado, and it was said that we are preparing space for the incoming souls so they don't crash with the earth vibration and atmosphere. So like the new souls which are coming can find the field which is in harmony with their vibration. So it was kind of really beautiful feeling like creating or starting to create like the space to land for really advanced souls, new galactics, like you are saying it. So
And through that field, it was quite interesting because we had the team ground crew from Egypt, Lionsgate 2022, walking with us. And in Egypt, my system and Jeff's system had come into a monadic synergy. So when we walked a lot of the temples in Egypt, our systems operated as one system. And my system had also can do that with Olga's system, even though we're not of the same monad, we're not of the same galactic oversoul. We are connected on a universal level, but my system had that synergy also with Olga's system. And when we came together with the group, it made a trinity out of our three systems into one. So instead of the two systems being into one, three systems came into one. And I'm wondering, Casey, if you have any more to offer on that. It just feels like.
I'm just seeing the pictures of like future work, like as you're saying that, it's lighting up my system because as like our monad comes in creation together, I'm seeing all of us that have to do work. We're supposed to work together, right? So some of these future gathering places, there's going to be that symbiosis that happens in order for all the codes and keys to be shared and come forward as one, right? The interlocking keys that work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so. Thank you for that. Because one thing I've noticed, particularly in the last 6 months, that a lot of my monad have been called to weave and work with me. Carrie and I, who's Carrie's on the call with us today, and her system's of the same monad as well. So I imagine the journey that we've just walked has been quite impactful on your system, Carrie, as we've been weaving together. Yeah. But it is definitely our monads are coming together with that capacity to operate as one body in the unified field as the one consciousness.
yeah, and it's also quite it sounds beautiful, but it's also really demanding because it requires absolute clarity, transparency, and healing all the past lives. And as we like walk together, we have many of them. So we had quite a lot of clearing here in order to be able to do this work in the unity field. So yeah, it was quite a preparation job to be able to like be in the unified field together and make it work.
Yeah, and that's one thing with a lot of people I'm working with now, but particularly on sacred journeys. It's really important if we are either repelled or magnetized towards anyone, that we look within and ask those questions. Have we met before? If so, how many times have we met before? Out of those meetings, how many of those meetings are still in distortion and require being brought to coherence? And once those questions are answered and any distortions brought to coherence, then we can have absolute clarity. Are we being brought together for co-creation, procreation, recreation, none or all? And it saves a lot of time, particularly when people who are drawn to each other all of a sudden think, oh, this is for an intimate relationship. And you don't need to spend the rest of your life working these things out anymore. In fact, we can't afford to. Rather, let's resolve them first so that there's the synergy and harmony required for the dance to unfold that we're being brought together for at this time. Yeah. So that was our journey. Our few days, 3 days that felt like 3 weeks in Valley Sagrado. Very much connecting with the land and the elements and the forces of nature down here before we made our journey up through Tambo Machai and Pucapacara and into Cusco. And Tambo Machai is a wonderful way in which to enter the field of Cusco and surrounds and the sacred sites there, because it is a water temple and a purification temple. So we wove through that in the rain to purify and cleanse our systems before entering Cusco. And without realizing the significance, we paused for a picnic lunch at a sacred site by the name of Kenko. There's the sacred site, which you need to have the ticket to enter, and then a place just beside the sacred site that's really part of the same. And it felt important to pause there for our picnic lunch on the way down. And we were very much shown, because that's where we would end our journey in Cusco, was at Kenko, that this was like the Ouroboros, the head and the tail of the serpent, where we paused as we entered the Cusco field and our last site before departure. So that was a beautiful, graceful entry into the field, and very much required for an afternoon rest and integration before entering Coricancha, the Temple of the Sun, which was rehabilitated by the Spanish and is now a museum. However, it still maintains its access point on the planet that connects to the major planetary dragon lines. And it's a very, very powerful center. And it was an important morning. We spent quite a few hours there to begin the weaving around Cusco. And maybe Olga can offer some more there, what unfolded.
Well, actually quite a lot of things unfolded there. We were working like it was a very strong experience working with a sun disk, which is there. And we felt like it's kind of afterwards, after the work, that it's kind of like the master sun disk, like the 13th one. And really, really beautiful thing which came, because like sun disks are many things. Like for me, they like have encoded many informations, including like way back home, like for the star nations and the maps, but way more than that. But this was really present, like how to come back home to the star system you are from. And what was activated here was the map, how to come back home, but not in a way how to escape from this planet, but how to bring energies, vibrations, frequencies from the planet, from the other planets here, and to create home here. So it was really touching that it was not like, okay, how to get out of here, how to come back home, but how to bring home here. And it seemed like the sun disk was encoded with like all those informations, and they were activated, and on top of that, or together with that, like it, I don't know how to say it, like it included, or they were also there, like small like orbs or time capsules for all the people who are somehow connected with creating New Earth, which is a lot of people, a lot of souls, a lot of beings. And each person like have its own personal like small time capsule with all directions, like their soul destiny, their role in like great unfolding, and their role in creating of New Earth architecture and New Earth here. So while we were there, it was activated, like we received it, but it also almost felt like they started to like float all around the like museum and like temple. So everyone who will be there and is part of like creating this new earth will just receive their own like directions. It's like small GPS with like, okay, what is my role? What should I do? How should I do this? What is support I need to have? What is the support I need to have in order to do this? So it was just like really small, beautiful, shiny orbs with all the informations we need. So it was very, very touching. Kind of, it felt like we put it for ourselves there, like really, really long time ago. So it's not external. It's just like we did it. So we remember. And so we have all the informations now. So it was very, very touching. And we did, yeah.
Yeah, just when we refer to the sun disk, it wasn't a disk as such, what was in the Coricancha. It was more of a sphere. We're very different than the solar disk of Lago Attilan and the solar disk of Titicaca. This one was like a sphere. And it had a lot more information in it. It wasn't a disk as such, which is important. I don't know if
they're calling it the master codes. They're using that phrase.
Yeah, I had a feeling you might.
It felt like this,
detail.
And those they're activation codes for the star seeds that are ready to get to work, right? So it's like a light bulb turns on and all of a sudden they get the download of what they need to do to get going.
Yeah, thank you. It felt like it was after those two discs in Titicaca and Attilan was spinning. This is like an amplification of that. It's like if you think you were getting shortwave radio, it's now high frequency with what's been turned on in the Coricancha. It's really quite profound. And while we were walking that site, as stray cats do, Jeff also had a lot of really important keys to pick up there that were required for later on the trip that he had left there at the time of the invasion of the conquistadors. It was like the conquistadors could take the riches, the physical, what was there, but they would never have access to the energetics of the Coricancha. That had to be closed down until this now time. And that's what opened this day. And it was really quite extraordinary, particularly of the way it impacted my system over the next 2 days. I had extreme pain and pressure in my head as my brain was literally getting rewired. It was incredible amount of pressure and pain. It wasn't from altitude or anything else or partying late like I used to in Cusco. No, this was literally an activation, and the whole brain system was getting rewired for what I can describe as the evolutionary process of the Homo universalis stage of our evolutionary journey. Extremely painful, extremely uncomfortable for about 2 days, almost unbearable after 2 days. And then the pressure began to ease off, but the whole, all the sinuses and pineal gland, everything just went through a massive cleansing process after that. And just as my cleansing process was starting, Olga's brain system actually went through exactly the same process, which was
luckily not at the same time, so we're able to like be like one of us was fully functional at some point.
Yeah. So that's something to look forward to on the evolutionary journey. And I don't think we're going to understand the implications of this for quite some time to come, because I got very clearly we're going to need at least 3 weeks of integration process. And even though we still need a large amount of integration process, we kept getting that it was important to meet with all of you today to share this. Yeah. So that was the Coricancha and day one of the work and play. And I must say that the joy, the play, and the field of love that was created in the valley throughout the 6 of us continued all the way through the journey. It was absolutely incredible. And the most beautiful way to journey ever is in this unified family field. The gifts that came from that, the truths that came from that, the growth that came from that, it feels like we'll all be integrating for a long time to come. And our next stop was Sacsayhuaman. When you look at the map of Cusco, it looks like Otorongo, the head of the jaguar. It's also an old stargate that has been dormant for quite some time. And that's where our weaving took us on the following day. And every morning we would arrive at a site and find our place for our morning circle, and whatever needed to unfold through that morning circle, a check-in time with everyone, what was emerging through the unified field, a little bit about the site, and then it was time for everyone to just enjoy being stray cats and to follow their intuition on where they needed to be in the time which we were in each site. So postcards from Sacsayhuaman.
Well, it's like one big postcard because it seems like we've been like opening or activating this really old like Stargate and intergalactic station. And I must say that it was probably the most tiring or requiring the most energy thing I've ever done, because it felt like it was locked for a very long time with something almost like it was locked with a very heavy like door, like lying on this station. So it was not, so there is no possibility to access it through like whoever is not supposed to access it. So I think we were just like sitting for good 30 minutes, and while it was removed and like lifted. And I think it was also the moment when we have almost the biggest amount of starships working with us. It was really like heavy construction work to open it. And like, it felt like when we did this and it like became fully functional, we we've seen like, you know, all those starships, they were just having champagne and kind of like being happy that, you know, it's possible to use this Stargate again. So, and I think it was the biggest thing in this site. Do you remember anything else?
Just that a lot of the galactic gateways we work for are with one system, whereas the one at Sacsayhuaman was a multi-galactic gateway. Many different galactics operated through that system.
Leanne, did they give you a number? Is there a number associated with it?
A number associated with the one in Sacsayhuaman? We weren't given one, but I'm getting there is a number for it. Is it 11? What do you get?
Feels accurate, yes.
Yeah.
But not in the sense of our human brains. Like they're showing it's not just 11, there's more to it.
Yeah. It is quite extraordinary, because having worked with many different gateways over the years and visited this one, but I'd never, I guess because it had always been closed, we'd never got to see what its functional capacity. But it was almost like the star systems who seeded the Earth plan and everything here all had access through that system, all have access through that system. And one thing that we're finding out in this evolutionary journey, although there was a set number that began this journey, there are others at this stage that are now joining that, the whatever you, because Galactic Federation isn't the name for it, it's the unified star systems who seeded it, were the founders, and there's more star systems and galactics with greater technology now that are joining the journey. It's like their expertise is now required at this stage of the journey, and they're joining the journey, and they also have access through the gateways, if that makes sense.
I wonder if 11 refers to those first galactic star races.
I'm getting a yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Leanne, can I just say something that is a bit interesting? Some years ago, a friend of mine, a Peruvian friend of mine, some relative of hers, an uncle of hers, was an archaeologist on some underground tunnels at the Coricancha. And I got to go down there with them, and they had discovered these tunnels that went from Sacsay Woman to Coricancha, or vice versa. And in fact, that there were a series of tunnels that went from there down from Sacsay Woman down into Coricancha, into the city.
Wow.
Thank you for bringing that in, Diane. As you did, I can see that there's the tunnels that are also not just between Sacsayhuaman and Coricancha. They actually go through an underground into a lot of the other sites as well. So yeah, it's a labyrinth under there, because I remember when Olga and I were doing the preparation, it was like beneath the city of Cusco is a massive crystalline computer system from all the star systems that was coming back online. So it's quite it became obvious that it's a major point on the planet where information is fed into the dragon lines, into the planetary ley lines and systems.
Yeah, and it was clear when we activated this 13th disk that like all the informations which were activated about like the architecture and like guidelines or instructions of how to create New Earth were kind of like spread out through the whole planet through the ley lines which are interconnecting there. So it was like
Oh. So the day after that, we were taken over into the valley beside Templo de la Luna and up behind the Monkey Temple, which is one of my favorite areas in Cusco. It's very easy to spend days up there and just get lost. And many years ago, I did do that on a Wachuma journey, which was wonderful, with 4 women from 4 different continents. And that day up there was very much a personal day, because there's been so many big planetary pieces coming through. It was really important that everyone took time to just check in with themselves. And everyone on the journey was going through major rites of passage. Celine was going from maiden to mother, and there were 3 of the women on it going through their rite of passage from menopause into their wide woman crone archetype, as was Jeff stepping into his time as the age of the wisdom keeper for most indigenous cultures is around 52. And in the world where we forget to honor our elders or value the wisdom that they offer us. So this was a really important, powerful day of individual journeys into our future selves, to meet with these archetypes and to welcome them into our lives as support and allies in the journey forward. Our world requires us to embrace our elders and embrace our elderhood and take responsibility for sharing the wisdom we have learned and offering it to the next generations. And this is what our day was all about as we wove through the valley, Temple de la Luna, and through the Monkey Temple on our way back down to Cusco.
And on the day also, like I remember that we started to create and prepare for the day when we will be in Machu Picchu, this energetic crystalline pyramid. And we've been shown that we will create another one in Machu Picchu, and they will start to create like a network that they will be activated while we will be in Machu Picchu. So I think it was like when we kind of somehow it was created through our fields.
Yeah. And then our final day in Cusco was a Sunday. So morning church for all those who felt called. And then we went back up to Kinko, where we started, the Ouroboros, the head and the tail of the serpent. And I'd always described this site as quite insignificant as far as visuals go, yet one of the most powerful sites in Cusco. Yet I hadn't really realized the power of it until this journey. And we did our morning circle outside and then slowly made our way, very slowly, through the main cabin, through the main altar of Kenko. And it was very slowly because a lot of housework had to be done on the way through. But what I hadn't realized, Kenko is one of what I referred to as the points on the planetary switchboard. And over the years, I've been taken to a number of these. One of the first ones was Rapa Nui on Easter Island. After that, I think it was Molokai in Hawaii was the next one. There's one out there in the end of the Indonesian archipelago in Raja Ampat. And this was the first one I'd been to that wasn't actually on an island site, yet it was a rocky island in the middle of the mountain. And it was a really, really powerful process for everybody to come through the altar space once it was clean and clear, to be turned on. And that was the completion of our weaving in the Cusco, in the valley, from that center point of where all the planetary dragon lines radiate. And we were then taken out through a site by the name of Morai. If you want to have a look at the pictures, I've put each day up as a photo library on my Facebook page. But the Morai site, when I discovered that some time ago, it's only the second or third time I've been there, I always refer to it as a galactic greenhouse. To me, it was the place where a lot of species of plants were bought and cultivated and seeded into the planetary system, into our planetary system. So it was a very magical journey, particularly when Diana, who's a nutritionist from the US, and Jeff, who's very connected also with the plant kingdom. It was one of the highlights of Diana's journey was to weave through that galactic greenhouse, through the terraces and through the gardens out there. And we were also shown that we can expect many more species of both our plant and animal kingdom appearing on the planet during this time of evolution. As the frequency of the planetary system raises, it will enable us to start seeing and interacting with species that we were unable to do so before now.
And we also, like we had with Jeff, those codes or seeds from this other planet from really, really long time ago, with like all seeds of possible like plants, and I don't know what was there. It was like a zip package, but it was definitely for this space, and it was unpacked there. So whatever was needed to come came.
It's interesting as we tap into it now. I can also see or sense the high frequency concentration and nutrition that will be available in the new plants that will be available to us, that our systems require on the new earth architecture, or through the new earth architecture. I've noticed on my own evolutionary journey that my diet has changed a lot, that my body requires small amounts of highly concentrated nutritious food rather than large quantities of fillers. In fact, it doesn't want the other one and has no interest to digest them. It would rather have highly nutritious, high frequency foods in small quantity. And from there, we took a pause for lunch in Urubamba and to Napo Iglesia, where we were taken for phase 1 of the preparation process on 11/11. And we were taken back there to the interdimensional doorways of Napo Iglesia that also connect through to Egypt. And I wonder if you have any more postcards for Napo Iglesia.
Yeah, it was Napa Iglesia was like a movie scene. It was a proper postcard, because it felt like I'm a very, very visual, so it's really like movies kind of in front. So it's cool. So it looked like it's for those of you who haven't been there, it's just like up there in the mountains, and it's just like the altar in a very interesting shape made out of like black stone, and it looks like on another planet. And it's a very, very potent portal, and it was happening like straightly from the source. There was coming like light and informations, or light encoded with the informations, but straightly through the source, not through any like creations or any dimensions, just straightly to the source. And it was coming to this altar, and through this altar, because it is connected, this is how we feel it, it's connected with halls of Amenti and Giza Plateau and Sphinx. So it was like sending this information straightly to the source, from the source to the halls of Amenti, to the template of humanity. And like it felt like the template of humanity was expanding, because what was downloaded was this template for Homo Universalis, all the coding and all the informations needed for that. So almost like this template, which is held in halls of Amenti, was expanding into Homo Universalis, and it's like it's possible to tap into it right now. It's present on the planet right now. And together with that, it was also like a movie scene from the sci-fi movie, because it looked like almost like infinite potential for humanity were coming in, but as certain scenes, like I could see the different scenes which have been downloaded, but it felt like also that potential of what is possible on this planet was totally expanding. So like totally new possibilities were downloaded. Like I don't know what exactly, because it was kind of like moving, but not, it was not very precise, but it felt like what we can become totally expanded, and what we can experience here on this planet expanded to the level which haven't been present on the planet before. So it was really powerful. Yeah.
I'm wondering if Casey has anything more to add to that picture, because literally we've reopened the infinite potential fields of creation on our planet.
Yeah, they were showing me that you're tapping into the new Universal Library That's in the it's not part of the Galactic Center, it's bigger than that. And you were tapping into being able
Universal.
to see the future potential timelines of humanity is what you're watching, and the why they were shifting is because nothing is anchored in yet. But you were able to see the future potential. All thanks.
Thanks, Casey. Yeah, to be honest, I find it really exciting for humanity because we were born into a system where as above, so below, there's nothing new under the sun. It's all happened before, and we're literally recycling timelines. Whereas what is available to our planet and humanity now is infinite. What is available is the infinite potential of what has never been manifested here before. So it's really important for us to write the new stories. We have a responsibility to dream the new earth into being rather than recycle the past. It's the potential available to us, and we are the ones that are here to embody the frequencies that enable that potential to manifest. Thank you. So from there, we landed into Ollantaytambo. And I love Ollantaytambo and the history of the pueblo, the village of love. It was founded on love. So the frequency of love is very present in the blueprint of Ollantay. And we had a wonderful day of play in Ollantaytambo. That started with watching llamas mating at the entrance of the ruins. And before we wove our way up the staircase and through the complex. I'm just tuning in if there's anything important that needs mention from Ollantay, which is the gateway town where we catch the train into Machu Picchu.
Like the important piece which happened there was like we're retrieving pieces of emerald heart of humanity, and kind of important, and which was like crashed into pieces, and it was like it was healed, it was put together, and it was really, really beautiful vibrationally and energetically. And it felt very important.
And when we talk about the heart, we're talking about our universal heart, the heart of universalis, our evolutionary journey from Homo sapien, Homo luminous, soul embodiment, Homo galacticus, galactic embodiment, our avatar selves, into Homo universalis. And each stage of this journey, we're required to open our hearts more, to love more, to become love without limits. Personal, planetary, solar, galactic, and universal. And this is held within the Emerald Heart. And it is a point there in Ollantay for that. And then next morning, boarding the train to Machu Picchu, which was on the 20th of December. We planned to be in Aguascalientes for 2 nights and had tickets into Machu Picchu on the 20th and on the 21st. And it was a little frustrating for those of us who had been there before with the new rules and regulations and entry fees and tickets that was you must stick to the path and you can only go to these circuits. However, all we knew is we had to move very slowly through the circuit number 4 on the first day. And it was a process of very much uploading information. And we did just make our way very slowly from one site to another. And we were blessed to visit in the afternoon. There were less crowds, and we got to spend a good half an hour at the Temple of the Sun during this time without interruption or disturbance at all. And postcards of pyramids of what began to take.
the pyramids like took place on a day two in Machu Picchu. I think on the first day we kind of were like opening the codes, which were in the mountains around Machu Picchu, which were like we realized the next day that we didn't know why we are doing this. We're just like opening the codes and release them, and they were available for all the people who were in Machu Picchu for the solstice, which was like really loads of people. So we kind of did like pre-work before solstice.
Yeah, it was very much a foundational day. I remember we had to, although we weren't physically at certain points, there was a sequence of connecting from one point on the main Machu Picchu site through to the Sun Gate. And then when we relocated, we connected through to Huayna Picchu. And then when we relocated, we connected through to the mountain opposite Machu Picchu, and then once more relocating, connecting, and anchoring through Intihuatana, the hitching post of the sun. So it was like the first day was a foundational day for what needed to unfold on the following morning, which went nothing like we'd planned or thought it would, but absolutely unfolded perfectly as it needed to.
Yeah.
And this was the piece, the second pyramid structure that was illuminated there.
Yeah, the second pyramid was illuminated, like also like what happened like in the mountains surrounding Machu Picchu. Like at some point when the pyramid was already like awakened, it looked like the mountains are opening and they are releasing like the libraries of Tara, like from all the informations and all the memories and also all the instructions from this like more advanced, more high vibrational earth, which was destroyed like millions of years ago. So like I was not aware that those records were held in those mountains. So it was very touching actually when they started to release all the codes and informations. And also there was like piece which was similar to Coricancha, which like it felt like we were working very like a lot with light beings which are living under the Machu Picchu in the Light City. And it all like in my vision, it looked almost like they were kind of like walking among people and kind of giving them like, you know, like the vibrational gifts, which were also informations needed for people how to like support New Earth. And here it's also, I think it was really, really important in Coricancha and here that all those like packages of informations, they are also including what kind of support does person need in order to be able to give their gifts for creating whatever we are creating right now. That it's not anymore about like really putting a lot of effort or like going over like what you can do. It's just like part of the package is what kind of support do I need in order to be able to give it. So it's not over giving, it's not overriding your system. So for me, it was kind of touching because I can't do too much, especially in those realms. And if we are talking about creating new earth, yeah, I can't do a lot. So it was really, really beautiful reminder that we need to ask for support. We need to understand what type of support do we need in order to be able to give what we came here to give. So this was like the gift from light beings from the light city under Machu Picchu.
Thank you. And I wonder if you have anything more to add to that, Casey.
As she was talking, Olga, as you were talking, they were showing me the light beings were activating the soul spark on each people. So almost like they'd turn on just a little bit, like their soul turns on a little bit so that they can be not walking around so unconscious, that they can have that connection point start to come in more fully. And when you guys were talking about activating the foundational piece in the codes, it just gave me a confirmation of my work that I'm going to do next month on Big Island. I'm being called to open up the portal first, and then I'm being called to go into this place called the Valley of the Kings, where all the kings are buried, and then it connects over to Egypt. Right, so there's a connection point for both. So it's just confirmation for me for that future work.
Thank you. And yeah, you know, it was quite a profound solstice at Machu Picchu. And even though we physically left the field, we were still weaving in the field. I was horizontal for most of the journey out of Machu Picchu back to Ollantay and back to Cusco, because my majority of my consciousness was still actually weaving in the field while we were having to relocate. A bit more of me landed the next day, but definitely that first day was the work continued then, and the unified field of us all, that those that were weaving together and those that were connected from afar, has been continually, very presently weaving in the field since then. We've all required some deep rest and integration, and the weaving has constantly continued, which really brings me to today. You know, I had great plans today to go and catch up with Diane this morning, have another meeting before her and have another meeting afterwards. And I had a little bit of indigestion that was the gateway into spending half the day unpacking from my system what needed to be unpacked, and preparation in the Pacific trenches beneath Mama Pacifica, because tomorrow it was really interesting. The day after our journey, Diana flew directly north through the Americas back to her home in Washington State. Celine flew directly south to her family in South America. And on the 27th, tomorrow, Jeff, Jasmine, and I are on the same flight from Cusco to Lima. And then I will be flying down to Santiago and across the Pacific. And they will be flying from Lima across the Atlantic at the same time. And this is part of the process. So I managed to crawl around most of the morning with Olga's help, wrapped up in heaters and hot water bottles, dealing with a major unpack of my personal system and the planetary body, which very much required a lot of work and soul excavation in the trenches of the Pacific, where I've woven for quite some time, where there are pyramids. And deep in the Pacific trenches, this is the land of Mu, of course, that's submerged. So we were revisiting the trauma of the sinking of Mu, because this had to be cleared and excavated today in preparation for what needs to unfold tomorrow. In so doing, it was to turn back on the pyramid systems of the Pacific Trench. Most of the other planetary ones had been turned on at different stages, the African ones, the Asian ones, the American ones, and I had thought they were all back online, but this one wasn't, and it needed to come online. It needed to be cleared and it needed to come online, and in so doing, then the pyramid that overlights the pyramid in Cusco area and Machu Picchu, the pyramid that incorporates and overlights both and illuminates the Sacred Valley, came online today. And Olga's got some clear pictures for those.
Yeah, and it felt like it's the piece which is interconnecting, like all our work for the last 8 weeks, because what this pyramid does is what we've been doing here in the valley was just reactivating, creating the template and architecture for a hologram for New Earth, which is almost like the prototype for the whole planet. but because it is called like the birth canal of New Earth, and it is happening here. Like the whole hologram and template has been created, and right now with this pyramid is able to transmit those codes and this hologram, all those informations, and we needed those pyramids in the Pacific Trench to come back online with all the other pyramids. And it seems like they will create all of that will create like the New Earth pyramid network, and the informations will be sent between all the pyramids on the planet. And it's almost like it's a network, like whoever is ready and whoever is choosing to tap into can tap into it and be part of it and like have all the informations. So it's almost like all this work was in order to create this New Earth architecture network all around the planet, actually. And I think that when you will be flying above, like what I've seen was that like you will be able to activate, because we kind of excavated, like we did a lot of work, but tomorrow it will be like the activation and everything will just go online. This is how it feels.
Thank you for that. And I'm feeling Casey has more to add to that now, because she's also weaving with the Pacific Basin.
Yeah, I was seeing the portals of light coming out of the pyramids as you activated them, in order for have the connection to the star races to be able to come through, right? It's the star information. You guys they're calling you star weavers when you're doing this work. And we needed all of the pyramids to come back online in order for that information to be available for everyone. They are telling me also that cranial upgrade that you two received, you guys anchored it in for the collective. You received it on a much faster pace than everybody else will, but they needed you guys to anchor it in first so that it can be here for everybody else to receive it. And I'm curious, Leanne, they were showing me that you mentioned those activation points, the Kinko, the Molokai, and the Rapa Nui. I'm just curious if that is your personal mission work, like if that's what your mission is here to do, just you.
I don't know. I hadn't really thought if it's just my role, my system's role in this. When you ask that question, I'm getting a yes. It's just part of what I think I put my hand up for, and my system got reconfigured in order to be able to work with these points on the planetary switchboard. Yeah. And it's not, I'd actually have to go back to record them all, because it's kind of like, oh, here's one here. Yeah. And it's more just I'm intuitively taken into these centers and sites, and it changes me and it changes the system.
It's your scavenger. It's your scavenger hunt for your soul, right? To come back and do this for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Treasure hunting. But yeah, today was big. The amount of shoveling shit that had to happen this morning, and all the way through literally until I think it was about 1:30 today when I said to Olga, I just have to go horizontal. I'm going to put my alarm on and make sure I show up for this call. But yeah, it's been a huge day, and it makes me curious and also excited about what's going to unfold for us through the Pacific, knowing that 2024 is when we're going to get a lot more tectonic plate movements, land movements. It's a time to really deeply listen. Where do we need to be when? If we need to move, when do we need to move and where? And not just to, it's not a random act in 2024. It's very, very specific, because where everyone is counts. To be grounded in our bodies and on the point of the planet we need to be at this time is vital. And yeah, it's what's coming to conclusion is a massive 9-month walk around the planets across all the continents in preparation for this next stage of the journey. And my body's very much looking forward to finding a home base in Aotearoa, her birthland, and resting deeply. And it still felt important to meet with all of you today and to thank you all for your service, for your presence, for your dedication and commitment to humanity and this planet at this time. Know that you count. And this turning over of time is a time of collaboration. It's a time of community. There's no heroes on this journey. This is a time when we're all weaving together. And to be able to operate from love and weave in the unified field of love is what is required. And when we can do that, magic happens. And quantum evolution happens. And I am deeply grateful to Olga and to our team, our Earth team that showed up for this weaving, to Jeff, Jasmine, Celine, and Diana. It was the most incredible sacred journey through Peru I've ever been blessed to be a part of so far. So thank you all. And there's many more to come. It feels like in the beginning of 2025, after the tectonic plate movements, the first journey may be in January 2025 to Antarctica, which will be an interesting unfolding. But for now, we just want to say thank you. And is there anything more anybody would like to contribute or offer to the group field, or any questions for the unified field that has emerged from today's journey and sharing?
For me, keep on coming since few minutes as something important to drop. It's a quote from, I think it's Lynn Twist, which is like the activist. And it's a really beautiful quote about the role we have in like the bigger unfolding. You don't have a big role. You don't have a small role. You have your role to play. And if you will not play it, it will be missing. So that it's kind of really important to understand what is our part in the tapestry. How, doesn't matter how big or small or like whatever it is, that you have your role to play. And it's important. And without this, it will not happen. So we all need to get really like aligned with our own roles and gifts and whatever we came here to give as a part of this creation of New Earth. So.
Thank you, Olga. So pleased that your wise woman landed on this journey. I love you.
I love you too.
Leanne, can I just say something here too, please? I have watched this journey, been on from the periphery through your visual images as well too, and I feel today has been like a catalyst for really bringing all of us, but for me personally, and link into this wonderful mahi that you're doing. So I feel very, very connected to it again. So yeah, thank you.
From me as well, thank you.
Thank you both, and looking forward to sharing a hug with you in Aotearoa very soon. And thank you, Casey. Always a pleasure when you can make our meetings. Greatly value your clarity and your direct and clear information and transmissions. And yeah, a very precious gift to be weaving with you across Mama Pacifica from the top to the bottom in January, and all that needs to unfold through there. Because I'm getting very clearly I need to base myself on the east coast of Aotearoa, on the Pacific coast, for what is to come. Yeah. Oh, so thank you all. Maybe let's just close our eyes for a moment, inhaling, exhaling with sound. Oh, coming into land. Please take whatever serves from this sharing, take whatever resonates, May it serve you as the journey has served and continues to serve us as we deepen into our own embodiment, into our own understanding, and into our own no mind. For the power of not knowing is access to the all-knowing, that which is beyond mind, that is now available to all of us, our ancient future selves, as we land into the bodies in this present moment, as we land into this exciting turning over of time on our planet. For there is nothing to fear here, so long as we are landed, grounded, centered, aligned, and in communion with our own soul selves. Our path will unfold with ease and grace. Know that we are not alone. And know that these gatherings, I have been shown, will continue on new and full moons throughout 2025. There will probably be less Facebook groups provided for each individual gathering, but all will be monitored and accessible through the WhatsApp group and through the Guardians of Gaia Facebook event page. As Guardians of Gaia continues to also evolve and manifest itself as its own independent consciousness in support of all Guardians of Gaia on our various interconnected weavings through this tapestry and the architecture of our new earth. It is done, and so it is. Blessings upon all of you, this and your families and communities this sacred season, and thank you for your service. Aho.
Oh.
Hmm.